The race for president heats up. I'm Adrienne Pedersen. Today on Upfront, Joe Biden opens up a lead in battleground Wisconsin. ABC's Rick Klein on whether the state is slipping away from President Trump. Then rage in the streets. Demonstrators inflict a new round of damage in Madison as businesses pick up after the last round of rioting.
Russ is out.
Our own Matt Smith reports from iconic State Street.
There's a lot of unease. There's a lot of unknown.
I'll ask Madison community leader Michael Johnson how the city finds peace and moves forward.
Taking on the issues important to Wisconsin. This is Upfront with your host, Adrienne Pedersen.
Thank you for joining us. We begin today with a big week in presidential politics. Both President Trump and Vice President Mike Pence visited Wisconsin last week. Our state, of course, put them over the top in 2016, but new polling tells us why both are visiting now. The latest Marquette Law School poll has former Vice President Joe Biden with an 8-point lead. That's a 5-point swing to Biden from the spring Marquette polls. The New York Times Upshot poll gives Biden an even bigger lead here at 11 points.
I have an aptitude for manufacturing, and I said it's got to come back, and it will come back, and we were doing great, and we'll do now even better. We're going to have a better year next year, I think, than almost any year in our history.
The president visited Marinette on Thursday. At Marinette Marine, he talked up his record on the economy and highlighted the company's contract to build the Navy's new ship. In Green Bay, the president taped a Fox News town hall with Sean Hannity, in which he acknowledged he might lose to Biden.
The man can't speak, and he's going to be your president because some people don't love me, maybe. And, you know, all I'm doing is doing my job.
We're talking now with ABC political director Rick Klein, who is joining us from Washington. We always appreciate your expertise on this. So I guess the question is, how worried should the president be about these new poll numbers in Wisconsin?
They all point in the same direction. Wisconsin, as well as a range of other battleground states, the president has done significant political damage, essentially to himself, by his handling of COVID-19 and this crisis over race, the economic collapse that we've seen. All of it has added up to a president who is probably in his most perilous political position now 4.5 months before the election. It doesn't mean he can't make up the ground. It doesn't mean that Joe Biden can rest on his laurels, but it does mean that this race has tipped significantly in favor of Joe Biden.
As you see it, does the president have a path to re-election without Wisconsin?
It's very difficult to win without Wisconsin. If you're President Trump, he would have to basically pull an inside straight with other states because of demographic similarities. That seems very unlikely. He could win if he were to hold on to Michigan and Pennsylvania. He would also then have to hold on to essentially all the other battleground states, including Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, Texas, Arizona. There's just so many places in the map. And Wisconsin had symbolic as well as substantive value to his election. And we wouldn't be talking about President Trump as president if it wasn't for his wins in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, and particularly Wisconsin. That stung Democrats more than most. And President Trump knew that from the beginning. So a circumstance where he isn't able to hold on to Wisconsin but somehow wins the presidency does not seem likely.
And I do want to talk a little bit about electoral math a bit, because here in Wisconsin, we kind of talk ourselves up and we say that we are a crucial state when it comes to winning the White House. You have a broader view. So I want to know what you think in terms of, is Wisconsin that important to win the White House? Are we still a make or break state?
Well, to put an even finer point on it, if the Democrat candidate does not win Wisconsin, there really is no way to win the presidency in today's modern math. And that's why the Democrats chose Milwaukee as the convention site. That's why you've seen the Biden campaign prioritize Wisconsin the way it has. It's a critical state.
And we just had the president and vice president here in the same week. That was obviously a strategy.
This is also a week where we've seen the president resume campaigning and do more in-person visits. He is trying to get out there more, and it's really starting with Wisconsin. You're right, to have both people on the Republican ticket there in the same week is quite unusual 4.5 months out. The Democrats are going to handle it quite a bit differently. Of course, as you know, they're already downscaling plans for the convention. And so far, right, Joe Biden, the only state that he's been to other than his home state of Delaware, battleground state-wise, is Pennsylvania, which is right next door. So he's going to have to figure out how he does visits that aren't virtual ones. But I've been talking to Democrats in the state and nationally, and they're just now beginning to launch some of their ground game in Wisconsin, even if it's going to look quite a bit different than it would in a pre-COVID era.
And I've heard kind of both sides when it comes to Joe Biden. Some people are saying, you know what, it's good that he's not out there as much because it shows that he takes coronavirus seriously. And some people saying this is hurting him because he's not out there as much. What do you think?
Well, I think you look, if the Packers are up 20 points, then and you question a decision made by the defense, you point to the scoreboard. And right now, he's not up 20 points, but being up double digits in a bunch of battleground states and being up nationally the way he is, that is a powerful argument for doing exactly what they're doing. The argument of the Biden campaign for these last few months is that this is going to be a referendum on Donald Trump. Let's see him. Let's see how he performs, because they think that he's not performing well, and the numbers bear that out. So he will take the hits about being stuck in his basement if that means meaning that you're going to rise in the polls. It doesn't mean that's all they're going to do for 4.5 months. They recognize he's going to have to get out there and expose himself to the American people quite a bit more. But at least for this phase of the campaign, it sure looks like it's working.
An analogy with the Packers, we can appreciate that. Rick Klein in Washington, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Dr. Jill Biden held a virtual event for Wisconsin on Friday. She joined Democratic U.S. Senator Kamala Harris, a possible running mate for her husband, to promote the signature law of the Obama administration, the Affordable Care Act.
With millions of Americans counting on the ACA to stay covered during a pandemic, we have to keep protecting and building on it. And that's Joe's plan.
The Trump administration has asked the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn the ACA, even as COVID-19 cases rise and more people have signed up for health insurance through the ACA. Coming up, a new round of violence in Madison stemming from the movement for racial justice, an attack on a state senator, damage at the Capitol, and businesses that may not come back after earlier rioting.
If you want to own business, you have to protect it, and that's a dream. If I couldn't protect it by myself, no one's going to protect it for me.
What will it take to defuse the situation? We'll have that coming up next, right here on Upfront.